Warrior means to be a brave fighter. I am a lot of things, but warrior has been the hardest title I've earned. This is not the end of my fight, but I will fight to the end. My parents taught me to be strong. They immigrated to America from Italy when I was 1. I admire their courage to come here and start from nothing. I watched them work hard my whole life, and they built a pretty nice life for me and my brothers. I know it was not easy for them, but not once did I see my parents give up. As long as I had strength, I could do anything I put my mind to. Life has tested my strength in every way possible. But no matter what, I continue to give my best. Maybe that's why I'm still here today, sharing my story. I opened up to the spiritual path in my late 20s. I had many spiritual encounters with my grandma and have received many signs from her. I could feel her presence when I needed her most, during hospital stays, dream visitations, and I even think she was gifted herself. I remember my last conversation with her. I was in New York City, waiting to take the Greyhound to Washington, D.C. with my cousin, and I had this sudden urge to call my grandma in Italy. I looked at him and I asked if he had a phone card on him because I had to call her. Thankfully he did, and she was crying, saying how much she missed me. I promised I would try and get time off work to come visit, but it turned out to be the last phone call we ever had.
I can still remember to this day where I was when I got the phone call. It was devastating for the whole family. I can't just put into words or describe the feeling of that day. And everybody else around us, it was very, very hard. All my relatives, it was one of the first deaths that we had in the family. And it was devastating for everyone.
My angel in heaven sent me my angel on earth. Billy can always find ways to make me laugh no matter how tough times would get. He was the one from day one. We had an amazing wedding, honeymoon in Europe, and bought our first home. We are not the sappy couple by any means, but I will say I married my very own Prince William. We were all ready to start a family and live happily ever after, and then our lives changed in a blink of an eye. And I could never forget that day. I was going to work on my usual night shift, pick up my coffee, changed into scrubs, and headed to prepare the OR. It happened so fast. I felt a crunching sensation in my back and tears rolled down my face. The pain was something I had never felt. And I knew something was deeply wrong. So I was brought to the ER and was given some pain meds while I waited for some imaging. I had a broken back. I called my new husband to tell him the news.
It was a really tough time. Like for a while there, she couldn't really walk. You know, like she was hunched over, couldn't put any weight on her right leg. Like that was a very, very tough time. And it's just, I mean, it was like heartbreaking to see.
I was unable to shower, get dressed, or turn in bed without help. I had lost all my independence. The days turned into nights, and even pain medication wasn't helping.
At first, I didn't think anything of it. I did suffer from back pains. I was hospitalized at my younger age. I thought she was going to overcome the same way I did, not knowing that she was going through surgery after surgery. I would never show my daughter, but it did break my heart.
While awaiting what would be my first spine surgery, we thought we needed a little sunshine in our lives, and we decided to rescue a puppy. We fell in love with Chip the moment we met him, and know that he was the one who rescued us.
Probably one of the best things we've ever done, because honestly, he is mine and Luisa's best friend. I mean, like he's really helped Luisa like emotionally and just mentally get through so much. It's just, I really don't think we would be the same people that we are now without Chip.
My first spine fusion surgery was August 2013, and unfortunately was unsuccessful. From the moment I woke up, I knew something was wrong. At one point, I was afraid I would never be able to walk again.
It's a heartbreaking for any parent, but to see your daughter not be able to walk, go to the bathroom by herself, get dressed or wash her face, it's very, very hard.
If I had to leave the house for anything, the wheelchair came with us. I needed that wheelchair for about 2 years. My life was filled with pills and pain. I was bedridden and even lost 70 pounds due to atrophy. I became a different person inside and out. I was filled with rage, anger, and even tantrums. I lashed out because I couldn't understand why this happened to me. I was not the person Billy had married. Everything changed.
So they had her on some pretty heavy drugs. And one of the side effects of those drugs were, mood swings. You would have good days and you would have bad days.
All this trauma really took a toll on our marriage. We had trouble communicating and we're really struggling.
We went to marriage counseling and stuff because things just wasn't working, but we were able to work through it and figure out a way to get through it.
We now had to face the reality that I needed a second spinal surgery. We searched the top spine specialists and most doctors were afraid to operate on me, again, because of the risks, especially paralysis.
She already was in a wheelchair for a year that she couldn't move. There was really no option but to go ahead with the surgery and hope for the best, which she did.
I found Dr. DeMora, who agreed to help me in 2014. I woke up from surgery able to wiggle my right toes and feel my right leg, something that I wasn't able to do before surgery.
I actually videotaped the first time her moving her foot after the surgery, and when I tell you that, I think me and my in-laws and my wife all cried. It was unbelievable. It was legitimately a second take on life.
The surgery was a success. It was a major surgery and I spent most of 2015 recovering. This had been different from the first spine fusion surgery since they had to go through my abdomen to my spine. To go through your abdomen means to move your organs out of the way to your spine and flipping you over on the table throughout the surgery. My spine surgeon said I would need to exercise constantly to keep my spine stable, so that's what I did. I graduated from physical therapy to the gym and would fall in love with fitness. Everything seemed to be going good until the pain returned. In 2016, I was rejecting the hardware and having right SI joint pain. I was headed into spine surgery number 3 and would have to start the process all over again. During this time, I really began to do some soul searching. I started writing, meditating, and reading all the self-help books under the sun, trying to find my why and purpose. I needed to channel my emotions into a more healthier, positive way. I found a local spiritual center and connected with like-minded people. Once a week, my husband would drop me off and I'd take classes and workshops.
I was so happy for her. She said, she found this place over in Hicksville. It was really close. She's just yeah, there's a center that they teach mediumship. And I was so happy because honestly, that was the first thing that she did after all of her surgeries. It was the first thing that she actually went out of the house to do.
The gifts I suppressed when I was younger began to awaken. I surprised myself and couldn't believe I could connect with my teacher's energy and her deceased loved ones. I thought I was making it all up and the pain meds were starting to make me bananas, but the teacher looked at me and told me this was a path I needed to continue on. I can't explain it, but I felt alive. After all these synchronicities began to happen and I was led to a path to something bigger than I could have imagined. A friend was taking classes to become a minister. She had invited me to her ordination ceremony, telling me I had to be there. So with my pillow and my cane, I went. I sat there watching the ceremony and I too needed to become an ordained minister. I ended up taking the 2-year program myself. The instructor allowed me to take the classes virtually since I still struggled with my health. I learned about different religions and spiritual counseling. Most of all, I learned so much about myself and who this new me was. Once I was able to help myself, the doors to helping others started swinging open. This brings us to 2017. I started having intense stomach pain, vomiting bile, unable to eat or drink, and was dropping weight so fast. Initial tests showed nothing was wrong. I remember telling my husband, I thought I was going to die.
So at this point, we're just like, listen, she hasn't eaten in 2 weeks. And like the doctors didn't believe us because she was like still throwing up like bile.
I ended up in the ER and was diagnosed with 2 rare diseases, SMAS, superior mesenteric artery syndrome, and nutcracker syndrome. SMAS is when the small intestine is compressed between the aorta and SMA. I had emergency surgery for SMAS, making that surgery number 4. It was called a duodenojejunectomy, and it was a success. I did have to learn how to eat again. And just 5 months later, they operated on me for nutcracker syndrome, surgery number 5, and those symptoms had worsened and could not be operated on at the same time. Nutcracker syndrome is when the left renal vein is compressed between the SMA and aorta. It caused extreme flank pain, blood in my urine, and extreme fatigue. Unfortunately, this was not successful and was told I'd have to have my kidney removed.
She goes, Dad, if I have to lose the kidney, I'd rather save a life. So she did. She decided to donate her kidney.
I treated my condition and saved Kelly, my kidney sister, who had been on the waiting list for 7 years. The surgery went well for us both.
After my new kidney, I was able to do so much. I was finally able to go see my father in Colombia. I was able to travel. I was able to actually work out, run, walk, do everything that I couldn't do because I was so limited with dialysis.
I have inspired dozens of Nutcracker patients to donate and became very involved with the National Kidney Foundation and raising awareness for organ donation.
For those that are helping out others that are waiting on the list, you're changing someone's life completely. You're giving them a chance at a new life. And I mean, that's beautiful, isn't it?
Kelly and I met in the hospital, and it was as if our souls recognized each other. We were close in age, looked very similar, and both had a long road to get to where we were.
I also want to thank LJ for giving me another chance at life. I have been able to do so many things because of you, LJ. I have been able to travel, visit my family, be out in nature, which you know I love, and I have you to thank for all of that. And till this day, I know I always repeat it, but there are no words that can describe what I feel or how thankful I am for you. I love you, kidney sister.
Kelly and I remain in touch till this day and celebrate our kidney anniversary every year. Although I am unable to have children, I was able to give the miracle of life. Kelly will make a wonderful mom one day. I was wrapping up surgery number 6. It would have made a great series finale, but I would have to endure more. While recovering from kidney surgery, I opened myself back up to the psychic mediumship world. I felt more awakened and connected than I had in a long time. I called myself LJ the Medium. LJ was a nickname given to me by Billy when we were dating, and I felt I was getting back into the real world as a new person, so I needed a new identity. LJ felt empowering to me, and it still does. Although there has been a lot of pain in my story, there has been a lot of good. At one point in my life, I thought I would never be able to fly on a plane again. Billy promised me a long time ago that when I could walk again, he would take me to Disney.
After all those surgeries, I always said to her, if you get better, I'll take you anywhere you want to go.
It had been a dream of mine since I was a little girl. Well, the day came and he kept his word and we went to Disney World. Still hard to believe I did all of that walking. We traveled to Aruba, and for my 30th birthday, we went to London. I was also able to travel to Sedona for a spiritual retreat with an amazing group of women. We were trying to make up for all of the years we had lost.
Well, we're always better when we're out and about doing things, vacationing and out of the house.
We decided to retrace the steps from our honeymoon with a trip to Rome and my hometown. My parents also came, making it my first family vacation with all of us traveling together. I felt it was important to document my story so one day I could look back and remember it. I turned it into a memoir and published it in 2019. It is called The Spirit of Hope.
I was so proud of her, you know, it was great to see. I'm so happy she did it. I mean, the girl could write too. She's super talented.
That courage, that strength to deliver those strong messages of writing a book about herself, but inspiring so many other people that can do whatever they want.
I had a book signing all set up. I got sick and I quickly panicked because I had stomach pain and couldn't eat again. It turned out to be my gallbladder. Although not as serious as my prior illnesses, it was still more surgery that my little body had to go through.
Not even a year later, she's in pain again. Compared to all the other surgeries she had, this was I'll call it a milder surgery for the things she went through.
It completely changed my book launch plans. But someone said to me, I guess this means there will be a book too. She was right that the story had to continue. So during the pandemic, I got to work. I hope to release my second book by the end of this year. As I continued to heal, I was able to bring healing to others. The better I felt, the more I wanted to do. I didn't want to waste any days or minutes. I was getting so strong at the gym, I had to tailor my workouts and nutrition to my needs with my spine. And I thought if I could do it with all that I had been through, I knew I would make a good coach, helping others through their challenges. So I studied hard and obtained 2 certifications. I am now a certified personal trainer as well as a sports nutritionist.
Becoming a personal trainer really helped her out. So it helped her physically and mentally, you know, like that's how kind of she deals with things, is going to PT and going to the gym. You know, helped her like really form all these ideas.
I also enjoyed opportunities to do speaking events and fundraisers, helping to raise awareness and money for some awesome charities. By this time, we were in a pandemic, so I am happy I could help others focus on their health during such a hard time.
She was helping people around the world.
The week before we went into lockdown for COVID-19, I was introduced to a producer. We shared ideas for a TV show and had an entire pandemic to work on the planning phase. While most people were struggling during the lockdown, to me, it felt like my past, unable to go out, not see friends or family, and housebound. It was ironic since this time I was healthy. I knew if I were to have a show, it would be to create a platform to have other people share their inspirational story and give hope to others, but also having a mediumship twist where I would get to give readings to audience members. We had an amazing lineup of guests and topics, and on November 14th, 2020, I had the season premiere of my very own show, The LJ Show. Welcome to The LJ Show. I am LJ the Medium, your host today. What would you say to somebody?
I would definitely say chase your dream. Chase your dream, because you don't know what will happen, you know. Find out if it doesn't work versus not trying to figure out if it did work.
I got to have my story shared with 3 million people. I got to do the ultimate Michael Jackson strut in front of everybody. It was great.
And she ended up filming and taping her own LJ the Medium talk show. But the thing that makes it special, knowing what my daughter went through and what she still is going through, but even so, she still manages to go ahead with her life, to go forward, regardless of all the obstacles. She is powerful, she is strong, and I love her dearly.
She's so driven and just, she's focused, she knows what she wants, and she goes after it 100%. It's one of the best characteristics about her.
I went from being in a wheelchair 7 years earlier to standing on a red carpet and limo as my new set of wheels. It was surreal, almost too good to be true. The show was a hit, and every week I was becoming a better and better host. I am a talker, and I felt I was born to do this. It looks easy on TV, but playing the role came with a lot of responsibility. A month into filming, I began to feel sick, and I thought, this can't be happening again. My stomach pain returned with a vengeance, and I was not able to eat at all. Little did my family, guests, or audience know I would once again be facing another surgery.
Luisa always thinks the worst, so I always have to be, like I said, the strong one. I was like, listen, it's really, I don't think it's that bad, like we'll get you checked out. Let's get through the tapings and then we'll figure out, what's going on.
During my tapings, I put on a warrior face. I went out on stage like nothing was wrong. But inside, I was hurting and thought I was going to die. I left the studio and once again end up on the OR table. I was diagnosed with another rare condition called MALS, median arcuate ligament syndrome.
I say, this is it, this is it, this is it. And every time she goes, Dad, she goes, but every time you say, this is it, but there's always something else.
Thanks to someone in my SMAS support group mentioning it to me, or I may have died. By the time I would have found a diagnosis from starving to death. I once again was unable to eat or sleep and had to put season 2 on hold. I lived on protein shakes and IV infusions while I was on the wait list for surgery in Stamford, Connecticut. It was nearly impossible to find a surgeon with knowledge in this condition. I want to thank Dr. Shu and his team for giving me hope when I felt hopeless and scared. Billy and I discussed my healthcare wishes and advanced directives. The night before my MALS surgery, I was afraid I wasn't going to make it through another surgery. On June 23rd, 2021, I went in for my 8th surgery to correct MALS and begin life, as I like to say, LJ 2.0. While I'm grateful to be back on the road to recovery, I do have to remind myself I've had 8 surgeries in 8 years, 8 years married, and it doesn't get easier. Illness is still illness. Today, while we film this, I am still recovering from this major surgery. It was extensive and has taken a toll on my body as well as my spine. We don't realize how much our core relies on our spine and vice versa. I am in PT, I'm starting to eat some of my favorite food again. I still continue to work towards my goals and look forward to being on stage again. While I was at Stamford Hospital, they would want me to get out of bed and walk each day. There happened to be a red carpet at the end of the hallway, and each day I walked to the red carpet, being reminded of where I belong and will be standing again. I will continue to share my story and give others hope, and that although plan A may not always work, to keep going even if it takes a plan Z. We cannot change the past, but if I could, I would have lived more before my injury, been more adventurous, not been so afraid, and would have allowed myself to have more fun. I always get asked a lot if I have any regrets, and honestly, I do not, because I realized everything I went through made me stronger. It made me the LJ I am today. I have met incredible people here and in spirit and have done more than I ever thought I could. We are all fighters, and every day we get to wake up, we are already winning. We all have a story, and I haven't heard one yet that didn't involve some kind of pain. All I can say is you can turn that pain into purpose. There is a light in the darkness, and it's brighter than you can ever imagine. Every time I'd close my eyes on the OR table, the nurses would hold my hand and say, "You are strength." My next one will say, "The best is yet to come." All stars shine bright in the dark. Be open to what the universe has in store for you.